Footnote to Youth by Jose Garcia Villa. Dodong, a farmer's son, heads home after a hard day's work in the fields, working up the courage to tell his father about his plans to marry Teang, his sweetheart. After eating dinner, he watches with pity as his mother does the housework alone, while he himself is too tired to help. Dodong then searches for his father and finds him continuously sucking on the deceased tooth. Briefly, he considers once again urging his father to visit the dentist but sympathizes when he realizes that he too would rather avoid the dentist if he were in the same situation. After his mother goes out, Dodong tells his father plainly that he plans to marry Teang. This announcement is met with silence, and Dodong presses the matter impatiently. His father asks him if he must really marry and reminds him of how young he still is. However, Dodong feels that at 17, he is already sufficiently mature. His father capitulates but asks Dodong to tell his mother the news. Dodong refuses to do it himself, and even in this respect, his father helplessly lets him have his way. The story jumps forward several years, to the moment when Teang, now Dodong's wife, is giving birth. Dodong leaves the house out of fear. Fear of what the house has become to him and fear of Teang, whose agonized cries have begun to sound like a sort of personal criticism of him. He begins to realize that he is perhaps too young to be a father. Shortly after, his mother calls out to him to come back, announcing that the ordeal is over. Looking at her, Dodong is overcome with embarrassment as he had taken something that was not properly his. His father comes out and informs him that the child is a boy. They call out repeatedly to Dodong, who stands still in the sun until he has no choice but to come back. Avoiding his parents' eyes, Dodong walks ahead of them gloomily, wishing for some kind of punishment. With kind voices, Dodong's mother and father greet him, the latter gripping Dodong's hand gently. They lead him into the room where Teang and the baby are. Dodong observes Teang with pity and a repeating sense of embarrassment when he hears his newborn son cries out. However, Dodong feels a swell of happiness and asks to hold him. His first child is named Blas. Dodong has many more children over the years, a fact which angers him, as he did not want any more. However, it did not seem like something he could stop. These events take a heavier toll on Teang, who loses her youthful figure. The work she has to do around the house is endless, and she cries sometimes, wishing that she had not married. However, she keeps this to herself so as not to upset Dodong. Nonetheless, she wonders what would have happened if she had married another sweetheart from her youth, a man whom she knows remains childless to this day, despite having also married. Despite all of this, Teang knows that she loved Dodong. Meanwhile, Dodong wonders bitterly why so many of his dreams have gone unfulfilled and why he feels forsaken despite chasing after love. Turning inward, he searches for the answer but finds none. He thinks that perhaps the absence of answer is necessary for making youth dreamfully sweet. One night, the 18-year-old Blas comes home, troubled and restless. He is unable to sleep, and so Dodong asks him what's wrong. Blas calls out softly to his father, announcing his plan to marry a girl, Tona. At this news, Dodong lies silent and unmoving. When Blas asks his father to think about it, Dodong rises from his mat and tells Blas to follow him outside. In the moonlight, Dodong asks Blas again if he is sure of marrying and if he must. Blas replied resentfully that he is sure and asks if Dodong has objections. Even though Dodong replies that he has none, deep down he wishes to spare his son from the same fate that he has befallen him. He looks at his son helplessly, with a mixture of regret, sadness, and pity.
The setting of the story is found on a farm where the main character's house is situated, and the figurative language used were hyperbole and personification. Why I said hyperbole? Because there is an exaggeration line used in the story. For example, quoted, "Youth must be dreamfully sweet," and we all know that in that line we can tell that it is an exaggerated statements that are not meant to be taken literally. And the second figurative language that I mentioned was personification. And here is also a sentence that I quoted. A short, colorless worm marched heedlessly to Dodong's foot. It is personification because, contrary to what a worm can actually accomplish, which is merely crawl on the ground, in the statement the worm marched to Dodong's foot.
Introducing the characters of Folknote to Youth by Jose Garcia Vela. Dudong, husband of Teyang. Teyang, wife of Dudong. Blas, son of Dudong and Teyang. And lastly, Tona, Blas' fiancé.
The central theme of the story is around the excitement of youthful age. They are all driven by youthful energy and are captivated by such desires. They are oblivious to the serious side of life as they think marriage is all fun and play. The reality is that when we are young, we often lack the maturity and patience to think deeply about our decisions. Such haste often ends up becoming regrets, which we have to endure the rest of our lives. Hence, the big lesson is to be patient and reflect on our choices before make lifelong or long-term decisions like marriage. One of the themes of the story is the responsibilities. The characters learn that discharging one's responsibilities at various phases of life is not as easy as it may seem at first. As young people, we may overlook this fact, but we cannot escape such responsibilities when we become part of a family and have children. The same happened with Daeng and Dodong, who realized that their decisions was rash and immature. They both recognized the enormity of marital decisions and that one should reach a particular age to consider taking up such a huge responsibility. Love and desire. The characters highlight the strength of longing that can alter our perceptions of reality. We all need companionship and love, and end up making emotional decisions to acquire the same. Irrespective of age and maturity, we end up making decisions governed by our need for love and desire than based on a reason. Family. The story depicts how the family makes decisions after consultations and deliberation. It speaks about young people discussing their wishes with their elders and asking for permissions and guidance.
Marriage is something that is to be taken seriously. Life is full of responsibilities,